convinced my identical twin brother we weren't actually twins. For 6 months, he thought he was adopted. Our mom still hasn't forgiven me. Have you ever executed a prank so perfect it became family legend? Growing up as an identical twin, I discovered early that having a doppelfert isn't just a genetic curiosity, it's psychological ammunition. My brother Alex and I were inseparable through childhood, sharing everything from clothes to friends to the bizarre twin telepathy that made our parents nervous. But by 16, we were developing different interests. I was leaning into theater and debate. Alex was all about science and math. For the first time, we were becoming distinct people. Despite being identical, I had a tiny freckle on my left earlobe that Alex didn't have, a minor detail, but it sparked what my family now calls the adoption conspiracy. It started innocently enough one night while studying in our shared bedroom. I casually mentioned, I was reading about twins in biology. Podical twins always have the same genetic markers like fingerprints, birthmarks, everything. Alex barely looked up from his calculus. Cool, yeah, which is weird because of my ear freckle. You don't have one. Now I had his attention. He touched his ear. So identical twins can't have different marks like that. It's genetically impossible. He rolled his eyes and returned to his homework, but I'd planted the seed. The next day I enlisted my friend Emma from drama club. At lunch, she accidentally overheard us talking about the freckle and chimed in. Oh, my mom works in hospital records. She says lots of parents don't tell kids they're adopted until they're older. Sometimes never. Alex laughed it off, but I caught him examining his ear in the bathroom mirror later. Phase 2 involved our family photo albums. I carefully selected pictures where Alex was slightly out of focus or at a different angle, making subtle comments like a weird how the light hits us differently here, or your features look different in this one. The masterstroke came when our mom asked me to grab her phone to take a family picture. I quickly changed Alex's birthday in her calendar to 3 months after mine, then deleted the original date. When he later checked her phone for something else and noticed the date discrepancy, I watched his face pale. Mom's calendar has my birthday in November, not August, he whispered that night. That's odd, I replied, feigning concern while suppressing a smile. The question started small. Alex began asking our parents about his birth, requesting to see his birth certificate, which they couldn't immediately find, perfect timing, and noting differences in our appearances that had never bothered him before. Our parents were baffled by his sudden identity crisis. I maintained complete innocence, occasionally defending them with lines like, I am sure they would have told you by now. If something was up, the breaking point came when Alex found an old letter from our Aunt Patricia, thanking our parents for making the right choice for both boys. It was actually about putting us in separate classes in 3rd grade, but conveniently vague enough to fuel conspiracy theories. Alex confronted our parents at dinner, demanding the truth about his adoption. Mom was confused. Dad was bewildered. I was fascinated by my spaghetti. What are you talking about? Mom asked. You were born 4 minutes after Jason. I was there, rather prominently involved. Alex laid out his evidence, the freckle discrepancy, the birthday calendar, the mysterious letter, the subtle differences in our baby pictures. As realization dawned on my parents' faces, I felt my elaborate house of cards beginning to collapse. Dad looked at me with narrowed eyes. Jason, something you want to share? I maintained innocence for exactly 8 more seconds before cracking under my father's stare. My confession was interrupted by bursts of uncontrollable laughter which didn't help my case. Alex didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Mom grounded me for a month, calling it psychological warfare. Dad, though he'd never admit it, was slightly impressed by the commitment to the bit. The family therapy session that followed was both mortifying and hilarious. The therapist tried to maintain professionalism while asking, so you convinced your identical twin he was adopted because commitment to the craft, I offered weakly. 6 years later, Alex got his revenge at my wedding. As my identical twin best man, he replaced my prepared speech with an elaborate story about how I was actually adopted from a circus family, complete with doctored photos and a fake letter from the Ringling Brothers Human Warfaces department, thanking our parents for providing a good home for the unusually coordinated infant son of Flipple the clown. My wife still asks if I am hiding any circus talents. Mom says the real punishment is knowing that someday I might have twins of my own, genetic karma she calls it. But the best part, last Christmas, Alex gave me a gift, a framed photo of us as babies with a tiny, obviously photoshopped freckle added to my ear. The card read, to my non-identical twin brother, DNA test available upon request. Sometimes the most elaborate pranks aren't about the short-term laugh, but about creating a story your family will tell for generations. Though I still check my food when Alex visits just to be safe, because the thing about pranking a twin, they have your exact same devious DNA, freckle or no freckle.